hold this?
Or actually, it'd be better if
Okay. You hold it.
So I do need to get a sound check.
So if I just keep talking for a while, you can figure out how soft-spoken I am?
Yeah, and we can also talk a little bit about, when you do something about work, what are some of the larger issues
that you could deal with as a cartoonist in the work,
right,
sort of.
Right. And if you think of anything specific, and then we can get it from you later and shoot it and sort of.
Okay. Yeah. All right, I could try to do that. I don't know. I mean, I remember one of the things that Greg and sort of his enthusiasm for the book when we first started working on it was he was sort of going, well, do some cartoons for it, and maybe, think about like it could be the anti-Dilbert cartoon.
It's if you want to start, maybe if you swing around so you see.
Okay. Yeah. Sort of and you want me to look at the camera? Sort of. What do you want me to do? I'm not. It's better to look at the camera. Okay.
And
okay.
Are you getting the noise there?
Well, the louder you speak, the less.
So I'll speak up, so you don't have to pick up the background. Okay. All right.
Otherwise, we're fine.
No.
Okay, we're rolling.
We are rolling.
So first, why do you think Dilbert has become so popular?
I think the kind of cynical humor that Scott Adams has sort of tapped into is it's just the sort of thing that resonates with people. I mean, it's what you see on sitcoms and television. It's copied now. I don't know which came first. I don't know if Scott Adams did it first or the Drew Carey Show did it first. But sort of cynical guys stuck in the cubicle culture, that sort of thing. I mean, I think it's sort of obvious to say that. I think that it comes out of, in his case, it comes out of a genuine experience with it. I mean, he worked in the sort of a large telephone company, I think it was, and this cynicism that he expresses, I think, is real. I don't think that he sort of is reaching for it or anything like that.
But what's the trouble with Dilbert?
What is the trouble with Dilbert? Well, I mean. See, I'm this odd character in that I've worked independently for like 12, 15 years, and so I don't come out of the sort of office setting that he deals with, and so I can't really critique him that way. I can critique what he does as a cartoonist. I mean, the trouble with Dilbert to me is sort of, it epitomizes what cartooning has come to be, and it's just another cog. To use the language of the Congress, it's another cog in this sort of commodification of information and images, and we're getting, there used to be sort of a subtle distance between art and these commodities, or news and advertising and things like that, and that distance is disappearing rapidly. And we don't question why Snoopy sells us insurance, or why any number of these sort of cultural icons are then suddenly selling us stuff. And Scott Adams really, set out. He says as much, to create they call it an intellectual property that would be valuable, and then he could then sell it to the people that would pay him the most for it. And he created a thing that has a large appeal. On the immediate level, that's sort of awful. It gets even worse when there's sort of this terrible twist where people think and actually would like to hold Dilbert up as this spokesperson for sort of the problems in the workplace and how downtrodden we all are. But the truly cynical part of it is that it's not that. It's actually the voice of sort of management and his defense of downsizing, and his sort of he couches it in terms of talking about how stupid people are and incompetence, and if we sort of got rid of all the stupidity, then everything would be fine. And he sort of misses the real targets, and he blames all the little stupid people beneath him, and those are the targets of his humor and his cynicism, and he doesn't sort of look above him at the sort of overarching corporate structure.
And so when you do a cartoon, do you think of your intellectual property? How do you deal?
No, I don't, and I should. If I wanted to make more money, I think that it's cartoonists are faced with all sorts of choices, and I think some cartoonists do, in the back of their mind, set out to create characters that then have the possibility of becoming intellectual properties. Other people do I mean, just to talk about other cartoonists for a moment, Calvin and Hobbes is a good example. There's some great intellectual property that the syndicate and a lot of other people that would love to get their hands on and use it to sell stuff. And Sam Waterston, the cartoonist who did it, had the integrity not to do that with these characters. He gave a great speech. This is maybe 2 or 3 years ago, before he hung up his hat on Calvin and Hobbes. He gave a great speech condemning people selling out the cartoon characters to the commercial market. And it's so out of style to say these things. It's sort of shocking to have a cartoonist sort of say, look, I created these 2 characters. I go to great lengths to create this sort of world that they live in and these unique voices for Calvin and Hobbes. And why would I undermine that or hand that over to these ad agencies to then use to sell whatever, shoe polish or health insurance or whatever? And he was he drew a very firm line. I remember I was at a conference and I met the guy who runs the syndicate that syndicated Calvin and Hobbes, and the guy was he was livid because he couldn't sell T-shirts. Because Waterston sort of said, no, you can't sell T-shirts, you can't sell coffee mugs, you can do calendars because it keeps them in their sort of paper format, but I'm not going to let you turn it into an apparel item even. And this guy ran the syndicate, and if he could have done just T-shirts, he would have made millions of dollars. And instead he had to spend money keeping people from printing pirated T-shirts. And a lot of people you see a lot of Calvin Hobbes shirts around, and those are all homemade, which is sort of, I mean, if I were Sam Waterston, it would be a compliment. It's sort of great that people go to the trouble of wearing it, and it's out of love for those characters and what they represent. It's not because they're selling something or whatever. Meanwhile, Dilbert is sort of this other model, which is like, let's create a property that then we can immediately turn around and sell to the corporations. He has some deal, I believe it's with Xerox, where it appears in the Wall Street Journal, which doesn't run comics every day, as part of a ad, and then they use them for management manuals and things like that. I mean, he's purely. I mean, he'll admit it as much. He's created a commodity that he's taken to market, and he's just anybody who will pay him enough, and. It's an attractive model because he stands to make a lot of money. I mean, I always hate, it's awful to say nasty things about comic characters. We all like comic characters. I don't want to beat up on Snoopy. I like Snoopy, but it bums me out that Snoopy is out there selling me Twinkies. I wish Snoopy would spend his time doing something else. Playing with Charlie Brown, or.
And as I said, can you talk about when you deal with the issue of work and some of...
I mean, as a cartoonist, I can talk in terms of... I mean, my market is really different. I'm doing cartoons that are about political topics. I'm trying to make points as a political cartoonist about politics. Sometimes I'm just trying to make stupid jokes because I think that they're funny, and there's no harm in making people laugh. I'm not interested in developing intellectual properties. I've avoided getting into a thing where I'm even syndicated, so I do cartoons when I have a good idea, and I'm fortunate in that I can wait till I feel like I have a good idea, and I'm not trying to come up with ideas for cartoons that are ideas to create this character, this property that then I can turn around and sell. I'm not putting down people that use regular characters. I think that that's a perfectly good form. I don't think that way. I mean, my response is much more of I'm out of sort of the old school of straight editorial cartooning. I'd much rather make a cartoon about Bill Clinton or Newt Gingrich or something like that. So I mean, it's comparing me to Scott Adams is sort of apples and oranges. It's a bit of a reach, but I mean, I actually don't read the comics page in the paper anymore. I mean, I find it's the funnies. It's supposed to be the place where you go and you get chuckles, and I find it infinitely depressing. I mean, you open the comics page and you get 2 pages, and 90% of the stuff that's done on those pages is done in the sort of the Scott Adams cartoon commodity form. Like they're trying to create these properties, and they're having to grind out 5 or 6 a week. Most of them don't succeed as humor. I mean, it's really, really sad. And then as this distance as this distance narrows between the cartoon as an art form that's just there to express the idea of an individual, and that the distance between that and it becoming a commodity closes, it just becomes sort of confusing. And I mean, I really do think that it's within the sort of surrealistic realm of possibility that in a few years you'll open up the comics page and there'll be the Disney cartoons that are all the standard Disney characters that are all marketing Disney products, and then right beneath that there'll be the Ronald McDonald cartoon strip, and then the Pillsbury Doughboy cartoon strip, and we'll just accept that the only reason that we have these characters is that they're part of this thing about selling us stuff. And I mean, I mean that facetiously, but I also, frankly, really wouldn't be surprised.
Anything else you want to say?
No, I think I ranted enough, did I?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Sure.
Great.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that actually sounded good. It's a good mic, so we filtered out almost all the chaos in the next one.
No, great.
I also wanted to interview our friend